Just when you think you know everything about the cover of this magical mushroom-shaped fairy journal made from a magazine, you may discover something new. Look, there's a key to open up the door, and two tiny charms, a wishing star and a magical leaf. Let's open the door and go inside. Howdy, Possum Patty here, and I've got my magic mushroom fairy journal. Yes, it's time to play Janet Nash's prompt game. These are the prompts from May 29th, and the first one was waves. I guess you can interpret that any way you want to. Googly eyes was number 2. The next one is scrape some paint. And then puzzle piece. The next one is just some scraps from your desk. And the last one is paint. I guess any kind of paint you want to use, right? Yes, so come on along. Let's get started. I only have a few pages in this journal done because I'm saving it for the glue book game for Janet Nash's prompts that she does usually on her lives on Mondays. And I think I put as many things on this first page almost as I did the cover, didn't I? So look at all the sparkle on that page. So it looks like I've got 4 pages done, and now I'm on number 5. And the way this journal is sewn together, I can fold the pages back and work on it this way. Or I can cut a piece of paper this shape and work on that. What do I want to do? This page I put a background scrapbook paper. This one I put a background of wallpaper. This one has a background of Mod Podge tissues. And this one has a background of book pages. Looks like book pages back there with a lot of doodling on it. Book pages with a lot of doodling. Okay, so let's look at those prompts. I need to get some paint and scrape paint. Yeah, I think this is going to be a messy project. So I think what I'm going to do is cut a piece of paper this size, and then I can paint and scrape paint and splash and play all I want. And when I'm finished, I will glue it in the journal. Now, don't get intimidated by art prompts. You don't have to be an artist to do this activity. No, this is for all levels, whether you consider yourself an artist or not an artist, or just a junk journaler, or just a newbie at the whole thing. You can do this. Yes, you can. Now, to scrape paint, you don't need any special supplies. Well, you do need some paint. I like to use acrylic paint, and these are just cheap paints. Artist Loft. I don't know, is that like Michael's or AC Moore or something? And I chose some colors to make waves because that is one of the prompts. Now, the biggest mistake that maybe if you're new you might do is to put a little too much paint on the paper and then scrape. Not a problem. Have some book pages or music sheets or scrap paper, anything you want at hand, where you can wipe some of the paint off of there, and then you'll have some nice painty papers. You can put the paint in something like the lid to an oatmeal box if you'd like. So you can put it on the paper, or you can put it like on something like that. Now I've chosen like a blue and a turquoise, maybe a turquoise. Yeah, there's some in there, a little bit in there. These paints are kind of old. And this is a phthalo green, I believe, yeah. It's a phthalo green. Oops, that came out good. Okay. Yes, you will get messy. Messy is good. Messy is good. Phthalo tends to be a staining color. It'll come out, no problem. Now, if you prefer, you can put the colors right down there. If you would like, you can like put them right there from the tube and then scrape. Basically, all you're doing is scraping. What if we put 3 colors like that? All right, now we have to remember we're making waves, all right? So I'm going to try and scrape in a wavy kind of motion like this. I didn't get over here, that's okay. Oh, you know what? If I thought about it, I could have left some white to be the froth on the waves, but I also took out a white tube of paint, and I can add that in later. No problem. Well, this is why I decided not to do it in the journal, because I like to get messy. Messy is good. Messy is good. Now you can leave some of the paint sort of a little thicker in places. That'll give the page a little texture. It'll just take a little longer to dry. So I'm using right now just a palette knife, which is special equipment, but you don't have to use this. Who's crying? Somebody wants to come in or out. Let me go check. What do you want? Oh. TT's toy is under the shelf. Stand by. Okay. Interruptions. Oh. Now this is a saran wrap box, which I've already gotten in the paint. The little metal edge, you can always scrape with that. Make some wonderful little waves in there. Or you can use any kind of card. You know, they always send you those fake plastic cards in the mail. Dish is always sending me cards. Or you get a gift card. You can use that. Or a piece of cardboard. I do have one of these scrapers from the Dollar Tree. This might be good for a little bit of a thicker, like maybe some texture paste or something. Okay, well, I'm not going to go crazy with the paint because I'll probably make some layers over it. She's crying now, but she's playing. I don't know if you can hear her in the camera. It's picking it up. But she's in the corner of the room. My little kitty. Now this I have to wipe off because I use this for everything, so I'm just putting it down on here. And I'm going to just use the rest of this up so it doesn't go to waste. And you know what? While I'm doing that, I have another one of these with some silver on it that I was using. Where is it? Put it down. Let's see if this is still good. If it's still wet, I'm going to put that on there too. And then I can clean that off. Oh, this is almost dry, but we'll see. Okay, this will become painty paper, which is good to have on hand because you might get a painty paper prompt at some point in the game. I usually just wash these off and use them over again, even though they're disposable lids off of things. All right, I will probably let this dry and wash my hands. Did I mention that this was watercolor paper? I'm using a cheap watercolor paper I got on clearance. Well, I guess it wasn't cheap. It says $31.99 on clearance for $5. This is back in 2017. And it's kind of big, but there's 20 sheets. It's a 140-pound cold press. I was looking for paper that was tall enough to fit in my mushroom journal. And this is almost dry, so I'm thinking about putting in a lighter blue, that's light blue, and a little bit of white. Good thing I washed my hands, right? All right, grab a napkin. And grab something to scrape. Let's see, I think I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. I have no idea where I'm going with this. Wow, that's pretty thick. Didn't mean for that to be so thick. There we go, scrape some off. No right or wrong, just have some fun. I was trying to make waves here, wasn't I? There we go. Here we go, get some white on top of that. So I'm looking at the list trying to figure out what's going to come next. Well, at least this takes care of 3 of the prompts. Paint, scrape paint, and waves. Now I have to think about what else I want to put on the page. It's supposed to be seafoam, just in case you're wondering. I'm just having too much fun scraping paint. My waves are not very wavy tonight. Well, we'll just call these like abstract waves. So here we go. There we go. Get some waves going. I don't know if it stripes of color make me laugh. They kind of look like waves. Okay, now you know you're really getting into it when you get out your finger tools and have some play. I'm having fun. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm having fun. One of Mr. Possum's favorite movies is, what's it called? Overboard with Goldie Hawn. And there's one line at the end of the movie that cracks me up. And the young guy in the boat goes, "It's a hell of a day at sea, sir." This looks like a hell of a day at sea. Okay, well, enough play. How do you know when it's done? It's done when you don't want to do it anymore. when you decide that it's done. Okay. Alright, so now we gotta let this dry again. Alright, that's on the floor drying, and this is my notebook I take to music lessons. Now this is music lessons, I like to call it dummies, but it's not really dummies. It's for senior citizens who have never taken any kind of music in their life. Which means we're pretty much a bunch of dummies when it comes to music. And I take notes in here. We're learning all kinds of music theory. And sometimes I doodle. And there's little tiny doodles on the side of the page. And look what I doodled the other day. This was on June 6th. And it was a mermaid with fairy wings. I was trying to make coral for horns up there. So what I did was I put that on the printer and I copied it. And I can cut that out and color it in. Now one of the things are scraps from the desk. So I was thinking maybe I can make her tail from some scraps. Now this is just one box of scraps. I have many, many, many boxes of scraps. And what would look pretty as a tail on a mermaid? Now it's got to be big enough. That's a piece of painty paper. I could draw scales on that. That's a shaving cream paper. If you've never played with shaving cream, that's a lot of fun. I took a Micron pen, black ink, 005, and I went over some of the lines, but then I decided to get out these shiny colors, watercolor, pearlescent, and metallics. And I think I'm going to put some paint on her, and then when that's dry, I probably have to go over some of those lines again. And let's see, I need some mermaid flesh tone. Don't want to make her green because then she'll blend in too much with the water. So let's make her orangey, yellowish, peachy, something. And she's going to be very shimmery. Because she's a mermaid. Now this was just a doodle sketch. Well, you know, sometimes during class, like at the beginning of class, and there's, you know, business things going on. Oh, that's all the flesh she has. You know, attendance, calendar, you know, things like that. Once he starts telling us about, you know, the song or lecturing us about music theory, then I start taking notes. Let's give her a little blush. Let's give her a little blush on her cheeks. And let's see, make a little neutral color. There's a little blue on my palette and I'm putting it into the orange there. That gives you a little bit of a gray to do under her neck. This is so tiny. I'm not used to working so tiny. Okay, I can make her features darker after. I zoomed way in. I have to make sure I'm still in frame. Okay, let's see. Purple hair, green hair, purple wings, green hair, purple wings, green hair. Now I'm painting on cardstock. This is just cardstock. And you got to be a little careful not to put too much water on cardstock. It'll get all fuzzy and start falling apart. This brush holds a lot of water, so I got to be careful. Let's see. I think I'll put a little. Mix up the colors there a little bit. And let's see. Green hair. I got that green, and I've got that green. I think the light green might be her hair, and the darker one can be her tail. Spin that around. Some of these colors are metallic and some are shimmer. They all kind of shine and are sparkly. I might add a little blue to that. Putting a little more green in there. I feel like I want to highlight her hair with something. I'm not sure what. Okay, I'm just playing now, adding some different colors on top of other colors. Might use this for little spots on the wing. It's very shiny. Okay, I need a shadow under this wing. Probably don't need one that dark. These paints were a gift from my buddy Dolores J. Rush. And she has a cool store. It's like a thrift store, like a secondhand store, but it's got like all art supplies in it down her way. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. I failed to mention something. Little scatterbrain today. Of course, when you stop to let stuff dry, then come back, you kind of forget where you were. Well, remember I said I was going to find some scraps to put on her tail, and then I went and painted her tail because I found these scraps in that box, and that looks like pink coral. So I think I'm going to cut that pink coral out and use that as a scrap and put her on the page somehow. And that pink coral. So I got scraps, paint, scrape paint. Oh, googly eyes. Oh my gosh. I do have googly eyes. But now, I'm not going to put it on her. She's so tiny. I'll have to... What can I make with googly eyes? Maybe a sea turtle or something with a big googly eye. I don't know. All right, I'm going to finish her up. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go over these lines again and bring them out, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to cut out this coral and think about a puzzle piece and googly eyes. Well, I let this dry overnight. I don't know, does that look like waves? Close enough. Now I have to remember what I was doing. I cut out one of the pieces of coral. I have to cut this one out, and I added some more pink pen to the little mermaid fairy here. You can see on her scales right there. So I think she's just about done. She's nice and shiny. Whoa, it really reflects the light. And I thought I would have her sitting up here in this piece of coral. And down here, I'll cut this one out and make a googly-eyed octopus. I don't know. Sea turtle? Something with a googly eye. Oh, now you know what I was going to do? I was thinking about doodling on here with this pink pen, and I don't know why I got that idea. But you're never going to see this because it's so small. Let me hold on to your hats. Okay. I was just going to sort of, I don't know, doodle on here a little bit. I know it's fine as it is, but sometimes I just get into the doodling mode. So I'm going to make those little round things there just to show. I think it's because I didn't draw this that I feel the need to doodle on it. Put some dots. I think that'll work. Yeah, that's it. Just make it a little more interesting than plain pink. So that's what it's going to look like. All right, so I'm going to doodle on this, cut the other one out, doodle on that, and come back with an idea for the next character on the page. I went with the sea turtle idea, and what I did was I took one of the googly eyes, I put it down on the paper, and then sketched a turtle around it. Okay, where's my micron pen? Over here. And so I sketch it with a pencil, and now I'm just going to... Oh, you know what? This is a 005. Let's go for something a little bigger. I wanted the small one to do the mermaid fairy, but I think the turtle can have thicker lines. So I put the eye down and I drew a shape around the head. Like that. And then I tried to draw the front flippers, and I wasn't sure what they look like, but I think the front ones are bigger than the back ones. And I was only going to put one, and then I'm like, well, maybe I better put two. So he's going to be looking up at the fairy, and it looks like she's pointing. That just happened to be the way I sketched her. So it's like maybe he's asking her a question and she's answering and she's pointing over there. Something going on over there. And let's see. So then I was thinking about a shell shape. Oh, did I move? Because I got this zoomed in. I gotta make sure I stay in frame. And they don't have a high back like a box turtle. It's a little bit more streamlined, like that. Oh, here comes Miss TT. And she's just trying to get into picture here. They do have like sections on the shell. It's been a while since I went swimming with the sea turtles. I did that in Hawaii. Now this doesn't have to be like totally realistic because, you know, it's in a magical fairy mushroom journal. So something that just sort of resembles a sea turtle is good enough, I would imagine. the back flippers are smaller. Like that. All right, I'm going to erase the pencil lines and get out the watercolors again. I did sketch him on the watercolor paper that was left over from cutting out the background page, so I don't have to worry about it getting too wet. I know he looks funny without his eyeball, which is over here. All right, don't lose the eyeball. And I'm going to use those same paints, Stargazer's watercolor palette. This must be pretty old. You can tell by how yellow the plastic has gotten, but you know, watercolors do last forever. Okay, and now what colors? I think I'll make the body like the same color as the mermaid's body, and then maybe the shell like the color of her wings, something like that. Something like that. So I did use, I believe, this one here. And don't have to worry about being neat because it's going to get cut out, so that's not a problem. I do want to put some pink in his mouth though. I think these colors are a little opaque, so if I get some on the black lines, I just might have to go back over them. Well, I have all the prompts except puzzle piece. And I was almost thinking, well, I had a couple of ideas. One was making the shells in the shapes of the puzzle pieces. The other one was that they're holding puzzle pieces. And the third thought was to just write the prompts on something that was the shape of a puzzle piece. Putting a little blue under the shell. Gonna start with purple. I think I put purple and then a little red. Oh, that really does hide the black lines. Oh man, I just thought of something. I could have made his shell puzzle pieces. Oh my gosh, I just thought of that. Just thought of that. See, the more you do, the more ideas you get. Sometimes those ideas are a little late. I'm trying to make it so the red and purple sort of run into each other a little bit. Oh, but I didn't mean it to run into his neck. No, 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 no. No, we don't want that. It's like I want more color, but I don't want it to be too bright. So that blue sort of tones that down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. I added one more character to the story. I know it's only half a fish because he's going to be popping out of the water. I just wanted to use one more googly eye there. Everybody's all nice and shiny and shimmery. I just cut a slit right here in the background, and I'm going to stick this piece of coral in here. Maybe, maybe not. Let's try that. Okay, I'm going to glue that there. So that one's going to go like that. Let me just put a dab of glue to hold it while I'm fussing with everything else. Okay. So one coral is going to be here, like that. And that is for the turtle. And look how sparkly he came out. And oh, I did give him a puzzle piece shell. So I know I was so puzzled over what to do with the puzzle piece. And I went back and I modified his shell and tried to make some like little puzzle shapes there. There he is with his eyeball. And he's very shiny and sparkly. And he's going to go over here by this piece of coral somehow. And I'm just measuring this to see where I need to put this one. Oh, I put this guy a little high. That's okay. And she's going to go over here. I love that you can see the lines of the paper that I drew the original sketch in the background. The doodle. She was a doodle. And now she's on the page. So this one's going to go here, and then the fish is going to be poking up down here. I still got room down here for something, don't I? I might put a shell or a crab or something down there. I need a slot for the fish. And where did the fish go? Where did the fish go? Oh, there's the fish under the glue. So right about there. And I made two little slits by the fin there, so I can slide this in. Now, what can I put down here? There's always one more thing. This is just a little piece of paper that I had sewn in the middle of the signatures. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but what I am doing is writing the prompts on these little slips of paper I put in between the pages. Just perfect for that. I'm putting some of this shimmer paint on here while the background is getting hopefully glued down over there. I did add a sticker at the bottom. I'll show you that in a moment. And I'm going to dry this and I'm going to write the prompts on here. Well, I guess this can go on forever and ever. While I was drying that, I thought about putting something in that netting that's in the middle. And I'm thinking, ooh, I'd love to put some fish there, but I need to glue them to something. So I'm thinking if I put some ribbon and then one layer of netting like this. I put too much glue. All right, so let's stick to that. We shall see. And then a ribbon here. Those aren't going the right way. Maybe I need a little wet glue on there. I think the wet glue will work better because it'll go through the netting, we hope. It's not going through the netting. Oops. All right, let me work on this. Just in case you're wondering, what does she do during those transitions when she edits the video? Well, during this transition, I am actually sewing on the netting. I am using this very sparkly thread. I got a bag of shiny and sparkly threads from the flea market. Yes, I know. I like to buy lots of fun stuff at the flea market. You know, I don't like to spend a lot of money, but if you can get a bag of stuff for $2 or $3, you know, it's like I'm there. More fun stuff to play with. Now this was 2 layers of netting. So I did glue 2 layers of the ribbon together. I did put the wet glue on there. And then these fish have like a glue dot behind them, so I've stuck them on the ribbon. And now to hold that netting together, I am just running this thread so that the fish will be in the blue sparkly netting like they're under the water. And I know I haven't written the prompts yet, but that's coming up. There's one thing about this metallic thread, it does tend to knot very easily. So you really got to pay attention to what you're doing here so it doesn't come apart. I think I'll leave it a little loose because the netting's stretchy there, like that. And I'm going to go across the top and make sure I catch that bit of seahorse ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And those fish stickers are probably from the Dollar Tree. I'm sure they are. So you got to be real careful. Turn the book. This is a very long needle. Good for basting, I guess. Unless it's a quilting needle. I don't know anything about quilting. There we go. Let me just finish it off here and write the prompts. Then maybe I'll be done. So I started with the mermaid as a doodle in my music note-taking book. And she went to the sea, which was scraped paint, making waves. And she needed a companion with googly eyes on the page, so I made the turtle. There you can see how shimmery he is with the Google eyes. And they're both resting on some pink coral, which was made from scraps on the desk. I just cut it out and added more doodles, some pink lines to them. And there was still a lot of room on the page, so I added a magic goldfish. And when I went in to get him some bubbles, and those are stickers from the Dollar Tree, I found another sticker, and it says, "Meet me by the sea." And that is exactly what these 3 friends are doing, meeting by the sea. And then I went to do the prompts. So I colored this paper with that sparkly, shimmery paint, and I wrote the prompts down. And then I had 2 pieces of netting in between the pages also. That is like, oh, there's none there. Oops, there's some netting here. In between some of the pages, there is netting. I don't know why there's none there. Oh, you know what? I think this is the center. That's why. That's the center of the book. And I glued this ribbon down so I'd have a place to put these fish. And then I sewed with sparkly thread so that they can be in the sparkly blue netting. So there it is. Meet me by the sea. Thanks for coming along today, and don't forget to visit Janet Nash's channel and her lives on Monday. Bye-bye now.